Because I knew that I needed to get home to work on my side business, which was going to be my safe haven when I left this job, I didn't have time to faff around. I didn't have time to play around. Hey everyone, welcome to this channel. If this is your first time of seeing me, my name is Kome Olori. I am the founder of She Dares to Succeed. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you the 10 steps that I took before I left the job that I hated and started my own business, becoming a full-time entrepreneur. For context's sake, you can check out my last video where I talked about why I left my job in corporate banking to become a full-time entrepreneur, so that you can understand where I'm coming from and just be able to understand the whole flow of the story. Now, without much ado, let's jump into the video. So this video is the 10 steps that I took before I left my job in corporate banking and became a full-time entrepreneur. And by sharing these steps, I am hoping that you would learn something from it, especially if you're in a similar situation, you're looking to leave your job and you just want to be able to do it in as sensible and as organized a manner as you can. First of all, I want to say that the steps that I'm sharing are not an exhaustive list. These are just to help you. There are so many other things that happened that went on in the background that I cannot even list out for you, but hopefully this 10 steps will guide you. And the first one is make up your mind about what exactly you want to do. So in my case, I knew that I wanted to leave banking completely. But for you, it might be a little different. It might be that you want to leave the particular job, or you want to leave the industry, you want to do something else. But the first step is for you to even decide what it is you want to do. Do you want to leave the job, or do you want to leave working corporate fully? The second thing that I did was I started to experiment doing a lot of different things. And I shared this in my previous video, which I'm going to link up ahead here. So I started to experiment with a lot of things. First of all, because I didn't know for sure what it was that I wanted to do. And I found that along the way, through my banking career, I had sort of lost the things that I enjoyed, and I wasn't really sure of what I was going to be leaving to do. So I started to experiment, and I tried a bunch of different stuff. I took makeup classes, I tried makeup for movies, I did different things, I wrote a bit, and I just experimented to see what would stick. And eventually I found what I do, which is running an edutech company called She Dares to Succeed, where we help women entrepreneurs start businesses. So that is what I do, but it took a process to get to this point. The third thing that I did was I started talking to people who had made transitions. So I found them online in groups, and I started talking to them about how they were able to make transition, and I just took on board the advice that they gave me in terms of preparation. So I guess that watching this video is some form of preparation for you, talking to me or listening to me share my own advice. The next thing that I did was I started a side business. So in the beginning it was eBay, and then over time it transitioned into Amazon. But along the way I tried different side hustles, simply because I wanted to make sure that I was choosing the right business that would provide the cushion for me when I eventually left my job. And so I advise and I suggest very strongly that you start a side business that is going to be generating income, so that you don't feel trapped in your job simply because of the salary or the income that that job brings. Number 6 is that because of the side business that I had a little bit extra that I started to put aside every month. So the next step for you is start putting aside as much money as you can, so that you would not feel trapped, so that you have a cushion when you eventually leave. If in case you decide to become a full-time entrepreneur before your business starts making as much income as you would already be used to, or just because it provides you peace of mind, just comfort for yourself. So put aside as much money as you can. The 7th thing that I did was that I became so much stricter with my time. Where before I would go out for drinks with my friends after work, or I would just play around, or I would stay later at work, I became so organized and I became very strict with my time, because I knew that I needed to get home to work on my side business, which was going to be my safe haven. When I left this job, I didn't have time to faff around, I didn't have time to play around. So I cut down a lot of the socializing that I would have normally done after work. And it didn't help that I had a young family as well. So I knew that for me to be able to give time to my business, I had to be very smart about how much time I spent outside of home and how much time I also spent on the family. And that's something that you're going to have to evaluate for yourself and decide what you are able to cut out from your life, just so that you can dedicate time to your business, so that you can then leave this job that you want to leave. The eighth thing that I did was I started writing in my journal a lot. I started journaling like crazy. Every single idea that occurred to me went into my journal. I mapped out things strategically. I wrote down things. I started to write affirmations. Essentially, my journal became my best friend, because I realized that I couldn't tell somebody everything that was going through my mind. I couldn't use anybody as a bouncing ball every single time. So my journal became my bouncing ball, and I think that it worked wonders for me, and it's something that I suggest for you, that you need to write down your plans as much as possible in a journal, and you need to be speaking positively to yourself. I think that's 2 in 1, but do you get the drift? So you write down as much as possible, and then you speak as positively as possible to yourself and tell yourself good things, because it would influence your mind and it will help you to stay positive while you are on the transition journey. The ninth thing that I did was to set an exit date. It was so important for me to know that by this date that I would be leaving. And then I said counting down. So I set the date and I put a timer on my phone, and it said to count down. And I remember when it was still 1,000 days to go, and people would look at me asking what the countdown was for my phone, and I never agreed to tell anybody. It was just something that was exclusively for me. So it was a countdown that I was monitoring per time, and every time I remembered what the countdown was for, it just excited me, motivated me, and encouraged me to keep going. I'm sure you will find your own way of doing it, but having a countdown is very important. Having a date that you're ready to live by, or that you're looking to live by, is very important. Then it will keep you accountable. Because what happens a lot of the time is that people want to leave their jobs. They absolutely hate where they're working, but because they don't have a set plan in place, they just continue going at that job, and time just keeps passing, and before they know it, they've been there 10 years, or they've been in this industry 10 years, and they feel like it's too late to start over. So please set a timer for yourself, set a deadline, and then work towards it. The next thing that I did, which is going to sound absolutely bonkers, is that I left before I was totally ready. I knew that the side business was going on. I knew that I had set my date. I knew that a lot of the elements that I needed to be comfortable were in place, but I wasn't honestly as prepared as I thought I would be. But I left anyway. And the reason I did so was because I knew that for as long as I was working full-time and dedicating my time, my energy and resources to this full-time job, the less time I would have to actually do the things that would move me forward in my business and towards the things that I wanted to lead, and towards the things that I genuinely wanted to do. And so I decided that I would leave anyway. And if you watch the previous video, like I said, you will kind of understand how everything came together for my good. And finally, to wrap up the steps, I know this is an additional one, but I want to say that I prayed every single step of the way, and prayer was very important for me. So if you're watching this and you're a person of faith, I would say pray about every single thing that you do on this transition, because there's nobody that can guide you as much as God can guide you. And so those are my 10 steps of how I left the job that I hated and transitioned into becoming a full-time entrepreneur. If you liked this video, I want you to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also leave a comment and let me know which of the steps you took away from this video and which one you currently are on, if any. Also feel free to add something that you think would be beneficial to somebody that is watching this video and is itching to leave their job. I'm going to see you in my next video. Until then, stay safe.